In this video, I'm going to share with you a breakdown of what James Clear did before Atomic Habits sold 20 million copies and every day is selling more and more copies on a flywheel that all of us wish that we had. I wish I could tell you that writing a great book is enough to sell a ton of books and to get on bestsellers lists. Unfortunately, most don't see the 5 to 7 years of authority infrastructure that came first. Now, James Clear, if you're not under a rock somewhere, he is one of the best-selling authors of all time when it comes to prescriptive nonfiction leadership books. Atomic Habits is, a book that came out years ago, but still continues to sell through of the strategy that James Clear implemented before his book ever released. And that strategy is something that you can do if you want to sell a book to those proportions now and in the future. Long before he got his book deal, James Clear committed to writing 2 high-quality articles per week on his personal website. This is back when blogging was the thing. And he did that discipline and stuck to it for 2 years, okay? By the time Atomic Habits actually was released in 2018, Clear's email list had grown to over 400,000 subscribers because he had set it up that way and created that discipline. And all of the little articles that he wrote were based on what his book would eventually consolidate into the book Atomic Habits. On my campus, the Thought Leadership Collective, we have a master framework that we use to kind of generate the same type of success that James Clear is having and continues to have with Atomic Habits. And it's called the Thought Leader Success Stack. If you want to know more about it, there's different videos on my channel where you deep dive on it as well. But right now, we're going to apply the Thought Leader Success Stack to James Clear's ascendance into thought leadership kingdom. Let's talk about Stack 1, which is the best-selling book stack, okay? And the key for that to become a bestseller was that he talked about one consistent worldview in the articles that he wrote leading up to the best-selling book on his personal website. He asked questions like, how can we live better? What are the things or the habits that we can do to live better? And so those writings that he focused on were around the area of self-improvement and finding 1 or 2 habits, which he coined Atomic Habits, way before the book released in 2018. And again, he wrote 2 articles without a beat from 2012 all the way up to the release of his book. Stack 2, which is brand authority. As I mentioned, these articles created trust and sharing. So what I mean by that is loyal readers would wait for those 2 articles every week. And it's because he never wavered in delivering that promise to his readers and his followership. So they learned to trust and he trained them to expect that every week. By the time the book came out, he had literally 400,000 advocates for this idea about Atomic Habits, and it became a #1 bestseller because when you have 400,000 people on your email list, even if you get 10% of them to buy your book when it comes out, that's about, 40,000 books, you're pretty much going to be an automatic bestseller. And publications like the New York Times will notice that you didn't just come out of nowhere. They can see that you've actually built a body of work outside of the book. And that means that they're not putting on a pedestal a book or an author that doesn't have all of the receipts, if you will, to show that they were writing a book that was based on research and sharing and creating a community around his idea. And then Stack 3, which is his business model, which is interesting because really James Clear is one of the highest paid Fortune 500 speaking and consulting experts on the circuit, okay? And let's also face it, because on average his books still sell through 10 to 20,000 copies a month since the book came out, he's getting nice royalties from his book, okay? He's hit the minimum viable to actually get royalties. And so he actually has an author career that pays him past the publisher's initial publication of Atomic Habits. And not only that, there were 2 follow-up workbooks that were published after that he was able to monetize as well. Now, if you go to James Clear's website, he doesn't have a bunch of courses or programs that he's selling. His business model is very specific. He wants to be known as a writer, as a consultant, as a speaker, and he's very clear on that. And that's part of leveraging Success Stack 3 is actually being clear on how you want to monetize your intellectual property. You don't have to do it like everyone else. You don't have to create a course or a membership if you don't want to, if that's not the way you want to deliver your products and services. You do it based on how, think about his work, Atomic Habits. It's the discipline that he feels that he can apply, that he can show up for on a consistent basis, and that includes writing. And that's why most of his monetization comes still from the writing, the consulting, and the speaking parts of his business. So at the end of the day, the lesson here in this video is not to copy what James Clear does or any of your other favorite thought leaders or authors that you follow. What's important is that you understand how authority is stacked and built intentionally over time. And the Thought Leader Success Stack that I used as a way to audit James Clear's ascendance into thought leadership, again, royalty, that's the way if you're starting out and you want to have that kind of career or business based on your thought leadership, you need to use that stack thinking in order to create that for you. And that's actually my mission. Our goal inside of the Thought Leadership Collective is to help 1,000 thought leaders publish best-selling books that compound into durable influence and income, because we actually need you more than ever in the AI era. Thanks for watching. I'll put another video on your screen that I think you'll love to see next.